Hello everyone, it's Open House Thursday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Morayo Afolabi Brown. As always, have the ladies. White K in the building. I love the green.
Thank you.
How you doing,
White? Good morning. I'm fine. I just want to beg the Ogun State governor not to forget our road because
you begged them.
As rain has started again, I need to speak to journalists hangout. They should help us because as rain has started again, you know, it's going to start eroding if the road is not tarred. So I just don't want them to forget.
Please don't forget. White K has been praising you for a while. How you doing, Mariam?
I'm fine. See, my mom just started her terminal leave. That's the leave you start just before you finally go on your retirement. See, my mom has always been in uniform. And it's like an end of an era. You know, she's going to finally take it off. And she's been looking forward to this retirement. Come and spend time with her grandkids. With all of us, we're just so happy that, you know, she's had a good stint, over 30 years of, you know, nursing. And finally, she gets to rest properly. So I'm proud of her. We hope government will do his part.
Yes, my auntie died without collecting pension.
Wow.
Okay.
What a story to share. Well, you know, there's always that. They have the pension scheme with the...
hopefully,
so that will work.
We're hoping.
But we're just, first of all, we're just excited that,
she's,
you know...
successful, now she can come with the kids and all that.
I always had my grandma, you know, growing up. To have my kids would be happy
also
to have
their
always,
own grandma. It's an I'm grateful to God, thank God. But, you know, keeping it with the pensioners, I was just thinking yesterday that how would people like my parents, people that are no longer in active service where they can earn money, how would they cope with this spike? You know, they found a way to live off their income, then suddenly they have to, transportation would increase, the spike in food, the spike in power, the spike in fuel, and I'm wondering what are they thinking about? Because many of them will just feel very, very frustrated or probably vent on their kids, and the kids too are not having it easy. Right. So it's like a spiral, and it's... One thing
Nigerians are very resilient, no matter where we find ourselves. Somehow we always kind of make it work.
That's how we excuse the government all the time. Well, we excuse bad governance by saying we are resilient. We are not. Well, we are not resilient. We are suffering. Let's say it as it is.
Anyways, we have to mention that today is the birthday. Today's happy birthday to Senior Manager, People, Culture, Experience and Operations, TVC Communications, Jumoke Alioke Malakai. Happy birthday to her. Many more years.
Happy birthday.
Happy many years.
You're very pretty.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have to greet her because she's HR.
She's 8.
And also my uncle.
Not because she's a staff. Yes. Not because she's a
Well, I have an uncle whose birthday is today, so he has sent me a message to also wish him a happy birthday. Alaji, oh goodness, my glasses are crazy. Alaji Jami Olamide Fuja and his daughter, Mrs. Oluwatosin Nosiru, today is both them.
Oh, wow.
I share the same day with my mom, so he shares the same with his daughter.
Oh, so it's
happy
a family
birthday,
thing.
sir.
It's in the DNA.
It's a family thing.
Yeah.
So our news mentioned today, before we wrap up very quickly, today is World Suicide Prevention Day. It's a day always set aside to remember and raise awareness regarding the subject of suicide and the actions that can be taken to prevent more tragedies on a global scale. I know Daily Trust had a report that about 200 or so deaths in Nigeria, over 264 in 4 years. That's
we really used to think like Nigerians are so
85 people.
As things get tougher, people are resorting to...
And it's actually illegal. You can face up to 1 year imprisonment in Nigeria.
If you're Lagos has a lion's share.
Yes,
3rd Mainland Bridge. 60, right?
Yeah, 3rd Mainland Bridge, that particular spot.
If unfortunately, you know, one did it recently and they caught the person and they arrested the person. And everyone was like, Well,
really, there's no reason to lose your
Unfortunately,
to take your life, though.
That's all we can take on that. When we come back, we'll go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Right, we're going to start with The Nation. APC, PDP in crossfire over petrol's electricity rates hike. EFCC arrests 2 brothers and others for cybercrime in Ibadan. Determination to salvage Edo and Agric sector. FBN UBA Sterling CEOs quit NESG board over attack on CBN policies. Let's talk about these 2 young men that were arrested in Ibadan.
Yeah,
Who has
the
that story?
2 brothers, Timileans, I think both of them, and a group of other people have been caught in Ibadan for cybercrime. Really, that's just what it is. Through intelligence, the security operatives were able to, find them and have arrested them. I mean, it has become like something that people are doing. It's become very, very much a part of our culture now. Like every home you go to, everybody is into it in one form or the other.
Let's move on now to The Punch. Nigeria borrowed 18.8 trillion naira under Buhari's regime, says report. I'm ready to testify against Mago, says Malami. Trader money beneficiaries unwilling to pay loans, says NSIP. Malibu fraud. FG asked Shell NI to pay $1.9 billion damages. Okay, which story are we taking here?
The loan, well, according to The Punch, and when they took over in 2015, we were at 12.2 trillion, and now we're 31 points, and I'm not sure of the figures, 31 trillion.
1 trillion.
Yeah, so we've taken 8 point something, and they're just saying that the loans are getting there are too many. And
Even in addition to that, Tribune carried it specifically that Nigeria's debt rises by 2.38 trillion in just 3 months. Like we just keep borrowing within, but the government has already explained why they're borrowing. That's the only way to fund the economy. Things go into crisis.
I think there's one more story in The
one
Punch.
of the economists actually said that they should start doing domestic and partnering with private individuals and then expand the tax net. Not increase tax, but expand.
Okay, let's take one more story in Punch.
Yeah, so the North Central Geopolitical Zone has finally announced its exit from Arewa Consultative Forum.
Oh, I didn't see that.
So the North Central is saying that,
there it is.
we need to do this because of insecurity in the North. Also, they're trying to make sure that, the North Central has lots of agricultural and social mineral resources and endowments, and they think that by making this particular forum, we'll be able to harness better the resources that we have in this region.
What states constitute North Central?
So there's Benue, there's Plateau, there's Nasarawa, Kwara State, and the federal and FCT.
Okay, let's move on now to Daily Sun. PDP, APC exchange words over governance. Magu, I'm ready to face panel. That's for Malami. Imo's landslide, ASUP rescues trapped member as situation worsens. Flood, fears in Delta as River Niger water level rises. And SUV's gift to Anambra monarchs. Rights group calls for Biano's impeachment. Lots of stories in Sun. Which one are we taking first?
The human interest, the landslide situation worsens in Imo State, particularly the academic staff union of the Polytechnic, Federal Polytechnic Nikede Owerri chapter. Sadly, they had to rescue people, families, and victims that were trapped. They said, particularly one man, Ima Ugu, and that this is ongoing. So they are asking the head of the department that something must be done to ensure no future occurrence of this landslide. That landslide is very common within the northeast, but we're not talking about it the southeast, but we're not talking about it enough, especially in Imo State. And we're hoping that the government
It's only that guy, there are still
other people.
24 families left there.
So please allow me to take this story. A human rights group, Human Rights, Liberty Access and Peace Defenders Foundation are accusing the governor of Anambra State of buying 151 SUVs for monarchs. In the midst of corruption, maladministration, unpopular policies, issues of poor water treatment within Anambra State, and saying that why would you go and put down billions or millions of naira to buy 151 SUVs for monarchs? To what end is that? So it was
the same thing the senators did, I think.
Well, we're kind of used to it. Let's pick one more story.
Major headline, please, because the PDP and APC had a war of words yesterday. The PDP speaking on behalf of PDP is the former presidential contestant Atiku Abubakar, saying that a lot of promises that were made to Nigerians at 2015 isn't being fulfilled. He also mentioned the fact that Nigerians should consider themselves that bag of rice at 2015 was 8,000 naira, now is almost 35,000 naira. Pump price was promised to be reduced, and a lot of hardship is being imposed on Nigerians. And immediately the APC replied saying that it is very hypocritical of you to make any statement concerning this. You guys were in government for a very long time. time, also mentioning the fact that...
it's the usual back and forth.
Yes, it's the usual back and forth between APC and PDP. But beyond PDP just complaining about what the government is doing, PDP should come up with sustainable options to what the government is doing. So it's an intelligent conversation, not a conversation of what you're doing is wrong and let's do something right.
It was interesting also because according to that same article, they were saying that in 2015, they had said they removed subsidy. So it was supposed to sell at 86 naira, but then it went to 145 naira. So how much have you saved between 86 naira and 145 naira? That's supposed to, according to them, if you have removed subsidy, that figure should be what we should now have accounted for and know exactly what's being spent on. But either way, we've not gotten a formal response to that from APC, but either way, the back and forth continues.
Because it was 86 naira when they came into power. It's now, we're not even sure.
And they said they had removed subsidy at the time. So
what is it now? Anybody?
It's 151 or something. Okay, let's find another paper before we run off. Let's take Daily Trust. 264 Nigerians commit suicide in 4 years. I think we talked about that. FG directs hospitals to replace striking doctors with core members. 611 Nigerian teachers killed. 910 schools destroyed in 9 years. And bandits have encroached on Uni Abuja's land, says VC. Which story are we taking
so
there?
the Minister for Health, Ehanire, well, he was reacting to the strike by resident doctors. And as sensational as that headline is, what he was trying to say was, okay, in the meantime, while this strike is going on, let us find ways to make sure that we do not disrupt the services that we would get from hospitals. So use locum staff, NYSC doctors, let's just have them. But he's also saying he's really sad that doctors are going on strike right now because they need to come together and fight the common enemy, which is COVID. And most of their demands are being met by government anyways. So
I think that's pretty much the story. Our final paper this morning is the Nigerian Tribune. Nigeria's debt rises by 2.38 trillion. I think we talked about that. Malami Tumagu, I will appear before Salami panel. Over 47,000 jostled for 2,000 Amotekun jobs in Oyo. Striking doctors reach agreements. Benue, Ghana's road to amnesty killing. Okay, which stories are we taking? And I think, let's find one more story there. Trump nominated for Nobel Peace Prize. I didn't read that story.
I didn't read it because it's not my business. It's America's business. But right now,
today.
but I think
would have loved to read that.
The federal government have sort of come to an agreement with the resident doctors that are striking. And it looks like from what they have agreed, they signed a memorandum of understanding. It seems that this strike may be called off soon. An amount of money has been, I think 4 billion has been earmarked to be paid out to
We've
those
been through this before. We hope that it's sustainable.
Yes.
Finally, the Attorney General of the Federation, Minister of Justice, Mr. Abubakar Malami, yesterday expressed his readiness to appear before the presidential panel investigating Magu. Says that he has nothing to hide, that he will be very happy to face the panel because he's there in pursuit of justice to ensure that there were no any illegalities on the side of EFCC. Unfortunately, that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we return, it's Thursday. We're gisting all the way. So everybody has been asking the ladies of your view, what are your thoughts on this Daddy Freeze and Pastor Ibiyeomie's story? We're going to be talking about that a bit later, but first, let's go on a break. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So recently, Bishop Oyedepo said that the only way to a fruitful marriage is submission on the part of the wife. Daddy Freeze, however, reacted, saying that submission goes both ways and not for the women alone. Now, if you want your wife to be the church that submits, are you the Christ? Have you laid down your life for your wife? This has, however, led to reactions from Nigerians, one of which was from another man of God, Pastor David Ibiyeomie, who allegedly slammed Daddy Freeze. This has become an entanglement of some sort. and we would like to hear your thoughts on this. Now, no bashing, please. You can call the phone. You can call us on 070-806-6814. You can also tweet us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourVTV so we can read your tweets. We try not to insult anybody. The idea is to hear your thoughts on the issue, because the reason why we're discussing it, because there's so many angles to this. There are issues of racism, the discriminatory statements made against a certain country, a certain profession, the fact that the outlashing on the pulpits, you know, these are anger issues. So these are the issues that Nigerians are trying to battle, to grapple with. And that's why we're having this conversation. So let us hear your thoughts on this. Mariam, would you like to start with this?
Okay, yes. So first of all, you know, you said that Pastor Ibiyeomie's response was a backlash. It wasn't a backlash, it was just heavy insults, and it was wrong. I mean, first of all, you called out a whole nation of Somali people, and you described them in such a way that it seemed that because you are from there, or you know, part of that place, then there's something wrong with you. I'm sure his church is, you know, he broadcasts his services across the globe, and they want everybody across Africa and across the world to be part of their services, and then you pick a certain group of people and make them feel that they are less than, because you have a problem with the way someone expressed himself concerning a scripture, which you would have addressed scripturally as well. Then you called someone a bastard. I mean, Christianity is always telling you that this is a place of love. You know, God is your father, Jesus Christ is your father, and then you stand on your pulpit and call someone else a bastard. And this man has both father and mother. I mean, I think, Pastor Ibiyeomie, you owe his parents an apology. Even if you do not want to apologize to Daddy Freeze, those people, I mean, they put up pictures and videos of them recently. I'm like, how sad this family would be listening to this. You know, there are just so many angles.
Let me say, because I feel like Nigerians, we like to always find scapegoats in different things, and we're hypocritical in certain areas. Now, the issue of him talking about Somalians in a certain way, I think Nigerians generally, we have this, doesn't make it right. We have that discriminatory statement we make across about each other.
Yes.
Ordinary from Ghana, from Togo.
Yes.
We all
Even
have
the north.
Let's not act.
the east.
Let's not. Many of us are working. Let me finish.
I know,
many of us.
okay,
but many of us do. It's a Nigerian thing. You say, oh, is it not this person from South? Is that Yoruba boy?
Yeah.
So we have it. It's happened. You know, it happens amongst us.
Yes.
White people will say that to black people. Black people will say that he's not a white guy. So, but because he's made it public, we're now finding the scapegoat to make it look as if, oh, he has totally discriminated against the whole nation.
It's not just making him a scapegoat. Right. Do you know what? I was going to even go there because personally, I'm not also a Daddy Freeze person. Right. Because I've heard him speak, and sometimes I find him rude. And, you know, and I'm like, the other former minister had that sort of conversation. So Nigerians can be rude. Right. In expressing themselves. I always find them insulting and insultive. I always say it. You can express yourself, you can show your disagreement without insulting people. Right. And so one person does it to the other person. Daddy Freeze has done it to someone else. So today is your turn. And the message now is to Nigerians, express yourselves better. You don't have to insult people to do that.
I think that's okay.
That's good. I feel very blessed. As a Christian, I cringed a bit when I watched that video coming from a pulpit, and I had to dig deep, and I've had this conversation several times with my husband, and I'm blessed that I have a pastor who's given me a perspective long ago that our Christianity and our religion is subject to our culture, which is why you travel to the developed world and you'll be seeing them and you'll be wondering, these people are kind. It's not by being a Christian, it is their culture. We have this culture. If you go into the Niger Delta area, they are very, very aggressive. If you give me one, I give you 5. David Ibiyeomie has history of not taking it from anybody. Yes, he's a man of God, but his culture is still very, very strong. And as Christians, I am saying as a Christian that one of the responsibility we've been given in the Bible is that you renew your mind. When you become born again, yes, you're transformed on a spiritual level. Your physical body is still retaining every culture ingrained into you, which is why in churches they'll be cursing and binding and killing the devil when it's not biblical because of culture. So I watched the video and I went to research what exactly did Daddy Freeze say. It wasn't just about David Ibiyeomie was not referring to that wasn't referring to the Ephesians and the marriage. There's a video of Daddy Freeze cursing out Bishop Oyedepo. There's a video of him mimicking, he didn't mention the name, mimicking him. I watched Winner's Service. He mimicked David Oyedepo and said the bald using the F word. Oh, really? So, yes, there's a video of that. So when I saw that video and he said the bald, and he was not sounding his voice like, you know, Bishop Oyedepo has like a husky, like a voice that is like gone. So he said the person is screeching like, and he did that video. So the video reaction we saw was not a video to a text. It was a video to a video. And some people say that when they call your father a bastard, in a particular area of this country, the father will be happy you went to insult that person. So if we remove the Christian coloration, and I'm a Christian and I believe that don't separate your principles. If you're a Christian, you stand by the word of God. Don't now say, if you remove Christianity from me, but we've heard that statement. So for me, Daddy Freeze incited and he got a backlash. Both were wrong, both should not be encouraged, both should be penalized in every way possible, because Daddy Freeze actually happens to have a church, Free Nation, that he does service every day. So both of them are claiming they have the word of God, but both of them are not living by the principles of the word of God. So both of them have no right to claim anything about the Bible.
I just want to disagree with you that it is not our culture to be insulting.
It is not.
It is not our culture.
Not
At almost 60, I know that my culture is not the culture of insulting. It is a recent phenomenon.
Okay.
It is recent, and it starts from the churches where they were saying, slap your enemy. Come on. Excuse me. In the churches, they are inciting this kind of, because I didn't watch Daddy Freeze. I have to be honest. I watched his response. I watched the other pastor. Yeah, I don't go to any of the churches. I'm just telling you from an innocent observer, from an observer's point of view. But, he said someone was a bastard. He said the Somalian. So are you saying that Somalians are less than human? When you are in a position of power, I'm not talking of government power now, a position where people listen to you, people talk to you, people idolize you, you must take responsibility for whatever comes out of your mouth. When you cannot take responsibility for what comes out of your mouth, what you see is what you will get. What he is doing, what he did, was he incited his congregation by all those words. So those ones will now go because they idolize him. Somalians are less than human. Half caste. Excuse me.
I don't think that's why I was going next.
Excuse me. Let me finish.
Okay,
let me finish.
Yes, that's next.
I have a child that is mixed race.
Yes.
Are you telling me that my grandchild is less than human? Because he is half caste. Half caste. Let me tell you the history of half caste. That word. That word. The word. Don't interrupt me. Half caste. The history of half caste was when Oyimbos were here and they raped our women, and our women came out with mixed race children. They called them half caste. That is, they are not full caste. It was a derogatory term.
Yeah.
So he used a derogatory term on somebody. On another human being like himself. Next time, let me finish. Go on.
You see, as I said, we always find it comfortable to find scapegoats. But in our culture, Waiki, we all grew up
hearing
half caste.
Yeah,
it's a colloquial term used in our country. Now that we are more enlightened, we're saying, oh, that is derogatory. We have seen it.
It was even complimentary.
People used to feel good, like, oh yes, I'm half caste.
Yeah,
so the truth is that now there's new knowledge out there, and we realize that it's wrong to call people that way. So let us not judge one man because he lashed out in that way. That's one. I'll come back to you.
You know why I disagree?
And also,
No,
and
did he
also-
say it in a, did he say it in a praising term?
Yeah.
Did he say it in did he say it as yeah, they have caste? Yes,
knew
I
what he was
know.
doing.
I come from a country where you will say yes, half caste, hey, it's half caste. Yes, we all know that.
Yeah.
But when he was saying it,
Right.
did he say it in that tone?
Right,
how
so let
you
me quickly
receive
just
it.
say, no.
It's how you
He said it
receive
was
it.
derogatory.
No, listen.
But what I want to say is
just
that
want- you just
when we
want to-
listen to that video, no, I watched the video and I will tell you for a fact that he was lashing out emotionally. So, and there's a lot of
course it's emotional.
No, there's a lot of people out there that will say that if somebody insults your father, if you're not a bastard, you would respond to that person. Many people go
Which
into
culture
fights.
is that?
This
culture
is
is
our
that?
environment.
Because I don't
See,
have that
These are
culture.
guys.
why you people
are
feel me
talking
like
from
I'm not in
this
Nigeria?
myopic perspective.
This is Nigeria.
If I say Lagos,
See,
are you saying that it's a Lagos or
so
Southwest thing?
let me say something. My mom said that when she was really, really young,
I have to go on
and
a
if she
break.
had a fight, if there's a fight, her father would say, did they beat you or did you beat them? Go back and beat them. And that's not history.
Yes.
We have it. That's
wrong.
That's the way. But is that right? Do we not have an environment where cussing and is a greeting?
Yes.
Cussing is a greeting.
Trust me,
Uh-uh.
I've
So-
heard of it. I know it.
so let's
Let me go on
not-
a break. When we come back, my own is when we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. All right, so we're still discussing the various angles to this because as a Christian, we also know that there was a time Jesus Christ came to the tabernacle and he was angry. Anger is, now, how you express your anger could be fueled by your cultural exposure or cultural understanding. But we saw that even Christ himself wasn't acting Christ-like when he started destroying the wares of people. Those are things that you can actually question based on the biblical principles. But the point is that we're all fallible somehow. We all do things that we're not totally completely proud of. But do we now, because one person has done something, now crucify that, yes, so he has done it, so this is the person that we're going to use as a scapegoat? That's my own worry. Let's stop being hypocritical, because the truth is that many of the things they said are wrong, but however, they are fueled by those cultural practices the things that we've seen and we do in our society, that yes, we are now realizing that many of it is, yeah.
So, Mariah, I'll disagree with you many instances.
Yeah.
So, first of all, it's not hypocritical when you call out people for being wrong. And that is something we do in Nigeria to stop people to justify bad behavior when someone speaks of, oh, it's envy. Oh, you're being hypocritical. So now people are unable to call out bad behavior. What he did is bad, and he did it on a stage where the whole world has heard him and can say something about it. Then, secondly, you see this culture that you say of insult and abuse. I don't believe it's a culture. I think, it may be a culture, but I don't believe it's something that we've always had. I believe that people have just evolved and become more insultive and more abusive. Me, personally, I know I find it very uncomfortable when people, even in jest, just insult you. You see the minister when he shouted at that man and called him stupid. I would take that as an outburst, emotional outburst. It happened, he responded. This person had time to watch the video, think about the video, come on a show or whatever service and talk about. So probably even like some people, he may have practiced the words he was going to say. So that was not an outburst, that was premeditated, and he did that. And it's all on him. And I would have more respect for him if he would, apologize and say, you see, I watched this over again and I think I may have gone wrong. As I said, I'm not a Daddy Freeze fan, so it's not as if I'm saying this is better than Daddy Freeze. But okay, now lastly, I now watched the particular video that brought about this because I really wanted to know what Daddy Freeze said, because I have heard Daddy Freeze talk about things and he was quite insulting. So in my mind, I was like, if he was insulting, the Nigerian way is to meet insult with insult. And I watched a 45-minute video from beginning to end. And not only did I not hear any insult, I was even better enlightened on the issue that came on board. And you know how God sometimes works. I said, sometimes God will even cause disruption to happen so that people can even listen to the message. Right. So the story that Tokwe was talking about the video where he insulted Oyedepo. I hear that is not a recent video, and that was already responded to by the bishop. So this is about the submission in marriage.
Right. Okay, so I wanted to address this issue of culture. And I don't think anybody is saying here that we have a culture of shouting, the culture of being rude, a culture of being disrespectful. I'm not sure that's what we're saying here. What I'm saying is that there's a way we behave. There's the way that's almost acceptable character of people within our society. Now, it doesn't make it right. Many of the things we do are wrong, but let us not then make it look like, oh, this is the first person doing this. Oh, he's now the one that we're going to hold responsible.
Saying that he should do better. He should know better.
He should know better. Yes, that's a valid point.
So
let me put you on hold for a second. Somebody's been holding for a while. Okay. Good morning. Are you there?
Yeah. Good morning.
Thanks for calling from Bauchi. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Concerning this Daddy Freeze and Pastor Ibiyeomie's lash out or something. You know, the truth is, in Igbo, there's something we say. Arana we madabo ofubo. That means two people don't get mad at the same time. I really think that Ibiyeomie should have done better, as in following him to, you know, come out and behave like a mad person. I really do not think he should have done it. But however, he did something wrong. Me, when I started seeing all those headlines, I didn't even bother going to read or because all these things are tiring. Everywhere you look at in Nigeria, there's either conflict, there's either violence or a brewing violence. This is getting tiring. They should not bring this into the church. The church should be the one making peace. We should not be the one making trouble. That is why this whole thing is tiring, and we shouldn't be, as Christians, we shouldn't be talking about these things.
Right.
I totally agree with Chinwe, and which is why, for me, I think that we place so much burden on the church, though. We expect the church to be perfect. And it's not. I'm not supporting David Ibiyeomie. I'm not supporting what he did. I don't even think he's Christian-like. I think it is human nature speaking out. And when it does, we reprimand the human nature and extol the man to behave to the standard we expect of a man of God, which is where I stand. This, what you did was wrong. This is what is expected of a man of God. Please conduct yourself in this manner and apologize when you are wrong. Yeah. And I've been there, and I've said it here. I call Sam Adeyemi my father in the Lord and David Ibiyeomie my grandfather in the Lord. Doesn't mean that if I see something wrong, I'll not point out that what you are doing is wrong. So, for me, as a church, we must speak with one voice. We must understand the difference between right and wrong, and we mustn't, out of compassion and sentiment because we're Christians, hide away and support what is wrong. Because our children will see it in future and think it is normal.
I don't think
it's not.
We all agree on this table that
we're just saying the way of
wrong. We're just saying that let us look at it from different.
He should have.
I'll get to respond. Let me take this call. 1 second.
Good morning.
Bamishile, thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. Good morning, madam.
Morning.
The case of Daddy Freeze and the Ibiyeomie. That is where how we have degenerated in this part of the world.
Thank you.
If somebody has insulted a man of God and you respect that person, the only thing you need to do is to go into prayers. Wow. You know that if somebody is insulting an elder, then the person is not cautious. And the person is not, you don't descend so low to insult somebody that has insulted somebody. And that is why the church in Nigeria has lost its value. But God has not lost its value. All of them are fighting for their pocket. This is my father. This is not my father. Who is the father of who? I had expected Ibiyeomie to have gone to prayers for the man that insulted the man of God. Right. If that is his point.
Okay, so
that's why. Excuse me. Wait. That's why I'm going to come and say here that when I was younger, the churches I attended, I never heard any insult come out of any priest's mouth. All those Methodists, Baptists, I never, for one day, say, slap your enemy. Never. In fact, they will tell you to pray for your enemy. It is recent. And it is that, and because if I idolize my pastor and he comes out with that kind of rhetoric, I will, me too, when I come out, Mayor, you are a monkey. Yeah. Come on. It is wrong. What is wrong is wrong. Let us not. I don't know about Daddy Freeze, so I don't watch his videos. I don't. I don't follow all these things. And I'm just saying, this one that I saw, this one that I saw.
There's a part of it also that says that there's an angle of hate speech, you know, because he said, I'll kill you. Because FFK recently...
I cursed the day you were born.
Yes. So these are things that can actually incite, which is what you say. So the truth is, his actions were wrong. However, it's also important for us to understand where everybody's coming from. Because people are saying that if you can criticize FFK, that's Femi Fani-Kayode. There's one other person that recently that did something that was an outburst. If you can criticize these people, we should actually openly criticize this man who is the man of God, which I totally agree with. But at the same time, I also want us to be fair in looking at this from different angles. Yes.
So somebody says, like, no one has monopoly of rascality. No one. My simple request is let him try, that is, that he phrase, try it to an Islamic cleric or to Islamic people. If he will not be sentenced to death, you should try it. We mess around in the name of Christianity. God is a God of mercy, but he is also a God of judgment. And God is a God of sheep, and he's also the God of the lion. So I remember that very recently, somebody was sentenced to death over blasphemy. Right. And
blasphemy against
all of us,
the Holy Prophet.
Yes, the Holy Prophet. All of us kept quiet. And for me, there's no double standard in this thing. I think that we should just accept each human being's humanness. And if there is any issue, I have spoken up concerning this. If you are pursuing a case of defamation in court, go ahead. You have a right to do so. And I think we should, because even David Ibiyeomie, at a point in his life, felt that a blogger was blogging wrongly about him and prosecuted wrongfully. People felt that he abused justice, but go through the court process, because until we have justice being served, until people pursue a case all through that, you defamed me, I'm going to sue you to court, and then there's a case against the person, who will have things like this happen. We just play lip service.
Take some tweets, please. Festus Akimboa says, Pastor David Ibiyeomie should diligently study the book of Romans if he wants to be a good pastor. I can never allow this type of pastor to pastor me, God forbid. Ogochukwu says, actually, that the phrase is fond of abusing men of God, but Pastor Ibiyeomie shouldn't have abused him. That way, knowing fully well that he's a man of God and that's an insult to God. What example is he showing then? Even to the extent of calling the mom a harlot.
But Pastor, but this guy, the phrase has stepped on toes. No, so, I mean, it doesn't mean that he should be treated the way he's been treated, but he has actually insulted
and he has been called out for that
number of people.
And has been called out for his bad behavior. So anyone that behaves badly will be called out for their bad behavior.
I don't know him like that. I mean, I know him on a one-on-one, but I don't read his tweets. I don't follow him on Instagram.
Adebayo says, you cannot insult my father and my religion and expect me to keep quiet. He's fond of doing it. He should stop.
Go to his house and insult him where they're not filming you.
Says the pastor should not have responded the way he did. It's ungodly. Yinka says, Murayo, this morning's program is too Christian. At times, they pretend like the action, but the truth is, you discuss Christianity. Churches and pastors too often on this program. We're discussing what is trending. Bilikis Mafe says, an average Nigerian is loud-mouthed, but Nigerians aren't the worst set of people you'd come across. We still hold the record of being among the most hospitable country. Like everyone else, we have our own shortcomings, but we're not the worst kind of race.
Okay, on that note, we have to wrap up on this. Either way, I don't know how best to wrap this up. I think what we've gotten from this conversation so far is that you have to continually scrutinize the way you behave. You have to comport yourself properly, no matter what position, because especially when the cameras are rolling, you never know where these things are going to get. You have to be very careful, and because you're a man of God, you carry that office. In anything you say and do, people see you, and you must always ensure that you reflect that pastoral calling you've been given. Any other
Yeah, my own is, if you do well in your private lives, wherever you find yourself, it will reflect. Yes. So go back to your private, individual, day-to-day living. How do you respond and how do you relate with people? Right. When you find yourself on a platform, you will only reflect how you live daily.
I just think that when you are in a position where people look up to you, or a celebrity start, like, anyway, if I see you fighting on the road and they film you, no matter who annoyed you, if they film you, it's going to trend, and you will be the one that will be left wanting. Yeah. So always carry yourself in a responsible manner.
Yes. To whom much is given, much is expected. You're a pastor.
And that please focus on your ministration. Focus on your Bible and preach. Don't stop criticizing men of God.
Spread your own knowledge.
But spread your knowledge and leave the men of God alone.
In this particular case,
what we can take.
That's what he was doing.
We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So we came across a story that we thought was interesting for us to discuss. A woman's husband traveled abroad, abandoning her and the 3 children for 9 years, actually. Wow. He then remarried in the abroad. And then, but did he even remarry? I think he just went off with abroad. Then he never called home. So many years after she won a visa lottery, her husband then, she now moved back to the US, moved into the US and in a totally different state. Her husband then later found that, I hear my wife is somewhere in this America. Located her, apologized for abandoning her in Nigeria for 9 years, being with somebody else, got family to intervene, and then they came back together. She forgave him. Now, unfortunately, years after, she facilitated his deportation to Nigeria while she was in the US. Now, obviously, she came legally, so she had the papers. He's been there illegally, living there for 9 years. Now that his real wife now has papers, he now did the right thing, and then she had the upper hand. She facilitated his deportation when he, I think, messed up or something. Now, the family meeting was called, and they're now saying that why would she deport her husband just because of maybe or whatever it is he did, you know? And that's the conversation. That's part of the conversation. There are 2 stories, actually, but we'll start with this because now she's asking that, family are asking that the woman is actually worried because they're now calling her a witch, that she has totally destroyed the man that she met in America for 9 years, caused him to go back to Nigeria. But according to her, this man abandoned her in Nigeria for 9 years, and he didn't do anything, and he hardly even sent money home. So in your view, I mean, this story is connected to another story, but I'd like us to hear your thoughts on it. How would you advise this woman in the first place?
All of you are looking, okay, this is why I get a lot of Instagram messages about relationship. They want to discuss marriage issues with me. I don't do coaching outside the show. I always advise everybody publicly on the show. For me, this particular case, I see anger, and I see bitterness, and I see someone who wanted to seek revenge. So apparently, she's let the issue stew for 9 years, and she was unable to resolve with this man. And most of the time, when we don't deal with issues immediately, our reactions are not rational. So what she did was obviously wrong, but she wasn't rational. She was just trying to get back at him that she'd be this America that you came and you sat down here for years, you did not think about me. I'm already here, you don't have documentation. Go back home. And it's not right. The family shouldn't, there's no 2 wrongs will make it right. So any family reaction is still going to make things worse. I think that the focus should now be on how can we effectively deal with the issue to reduce, to take bitterness away from both sides. Children are the ones that will suffer from this. The children have suffered for 9 years. They now had opportunity to have the parent, but bitterness was still there. So if we don't deal with the bitterness, we'll still have children growing up having 2 estranged parents who are embittered with one another. That is a wrong foundation to build solid children. So I believe that should be dealt with first.
I just remember another story, but let me let you comment on this one.
I think Tokwe sort of handled everything because, you know, the wife, if she didn't feel that she totally forgave him or that she didn't have to take him back because she was in America, she didn't need him. He didn't facilitate her going to America. Whatever it is that she was doing there, she did that with her own sweat. She didn't need, obviously, it seems she didn't need him to be there. The only reason she allowed for him to come back was because family asked her to. And it's just that I don't think we have the story of why she facilitated his deportation. Did he become abusive? Did he become entitled? Do you understand?
So one of the reasons why we're talking about is because there's so many, we get lots of stories from different people sending us messages that, please, don't talk about my issue on TV, or let Nigerians get involved. Because there's another story, which is somewhat similar. This woman, she and her husband were saving money for a house many years. They had the land. Saving money for many years. Now, the man wanted to do farming. So that savings, he carried the savings to start a farm separately. So the farm was ongoing. He didn't tell the wife. The wife now found that, our savings, we went to go and use to start a farm. She wasn't happy about it.
And the savings was for a specific thing.
Was for the house. She kept quiet. Saved a bit more money, a little bit. Went to get her own loan, because he also actually went to get a loan to add to that savings. She went to get her own loan, then started the house secretly, without telling the husband, wait, I'm starting, since you've already used our savings, started the house secretly. Somehow, he just went to go and check his land and strolled and, hey, who's building here? He now went back to the house. We come more, that's our land. Then that's how he found out that the wife was actually the one building. He got mad, called a family meeting. Of course, family were on the side of the man. That how dare you? Everybody ganged up against her from both sides of the family. How dare you start building without your husband's permission? She got angry. Now, because she has a visa, I think an American passport, because they was angry that everybody was pouncing on her, she carried her children and disappeared.
Yeah, that's a heavy story.
And disappeared. Till today, as I'm speaking to you, husband has not found wife.
And children have not been found.
And children have not been found. Now, for me, does that even make any sense? Because when I got the story, I was really angry. Because, is it because you have a visa, you have pali? Because that's what we're doing now. Because if you didn't have pali, you find a way to resolve the issue within the family. But because you have pali, you have passport.
You're also on the man's side,
You've carried
You're also on the man's side.
You're starting from the
on
end.
this side, on this table, I am on this man's
You're
side.
starting from the end, not from the
But
beginning.
in your view,
We submit to your wisdom.
For me, this one, I would just say, this is where, before you marry, know your partner. Make sure, that's why I wasn't on the show when you people were discussing, will I have a secret account? If I have to have a secret account from my husband, then I do not, either we do not love each other, or I do not love him. Maybe he loves me and I don't love him. For me to have it, because I rather tell you that, look, this is what I have. So in this lady's case, either she wasn't friendly with the man, they did not gel, they did not sync. Because I think for me, she took a drastic decision. It's drastic. I would never do that.
Right.
I would never do what she did. Exactly. Because those children are going to grow up without knowing their fathers. Right. Or their father, one father.
Mariam has dissected people. Let me pause for a second. Let me take this call. Good morning, are you there?
Good morning.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Good morning.
Good morning. You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yes. First, I want to talk about the pastor.
Go ahead. It's your view. Let it count.
Yes. I think it is very wrong for any pastor to call anybody a bastard. So, my name is Odunton, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
That's one. We know the issues amongst you. So, on a lighter note, I always imagine the four of you being married by the same man under the same house. You always set the house on fire. That's on the lighter note. As for the woman doing something without letting the husband know about it, talk about the husband that set up something without telling the wife. That husband was very wrong. And for the wife to do the same thing, building a house without telling the husband, that is also very wrong. Two wrongs does not make a right. But we have the tendency to always blame women. If you hide things from your wife, if your wife now decides to hide anything from you, we shouldn't be blaming that woman for that. What I find to be wrong is for that woman to have left for abroad, leaving the man to his fate. That means the woman herself, so you can interpret that.
Thank you very much. Maya, let me hear your thoughts on this.
See, let's start from the beginning, from the root cause. That man has betrayed that woman, for me, in two instances. First, monies that you have kept together and agreed together to do something. You went behind her back and you used it for something else. And you didn't tell her. That's betrayal, and we know betrayal cuts deep. And you did that the first time around, and you're moving on with your lives and everything. She now raises money. First of all, let's understand that money that he took to start the farming was for them to build a house for the family, the man and the woman and their children. She now raises money and starts building the house. Lucky you, mister. So not only do you have a farm, you now have a house. Your wife is that industrious and resourceful. When you find the house, wow, you are doing this without me. For me, I feel that you should be grateful. You were doing this without me. How did you raise this money? Are we able to pay back? Why are you reporting her to the whole world? Did she report you to the whole world when you betrayed them, betrayed your family? She didn't. Why didn't you decide to now resolve whatever it was within the family? Okay, you raised this money, you started building without me. I guess you were upset for what I did, but how do we go on? Because this is about the family. You now call the family members and everybody just as Mr. Oduton says, everybody now blames the wife because it's easier to blame the wife.
Okay, why? Okay, so I hear you, Bamara, but in a situation where, okay, it has happened, the man goofed, just like you said, but as a woman and a stakeholder in this family, don't you think it was rational for her to say, you know what, let us discuss this, let us resolve this amicably? Must you not carry your children, the man's children, and carry and go because you have a passport?
See, I don't know how long that she's been away, maybe a few months. Everybody has, if you can afford to take some time, we always say that. If you can afford to take some time out, we don't know what it has degenerated to. Did she think that they were going to get physically abusive? Was she emotionally drained and she thinks, you know, the best thing for me right now is take a step away from this situation. And when I come down, I can talk to him. In the meantime, hoping he realizes his own mistakes. And if he wants us to come on TV to beg her to please come home because he's apologizing for how he betrayed her and he wants them to work it out, then we can do that. But to put the blame solely on that woman, that is wrong.
Can I ask you this question, Miriam? The farm that he used the money to, is it for food for them or for is it for their own? Isn't it for the whole? For the family? Is it common or is it just for him?
That's what I'm
saying. Farm. Is it the money they get from that farm? Will he not build the house in future?
We hope so.
Exactly.
We hope
Thank
so.
you, YK.
We hope
Thank
so.
you. That was the plan.
No.
We hope Let me come to Tokwe. I'll come to you. Tokwe, Matilda has been holding Tokwe. Matilda, are you there?
Good morning.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Please, I want to talk about the two pastors.
It's your view that it counts. Go ahead, please.
The man that they called bastard is not Jesus Christ. They were not referring to him. And as a Christian, we don't practice what we preach. It's a signal for him. When he heard someone calling him a bastard, he would have asked God, what is that signal for? Everybody has a tormenting spirit. The devil can use anybody, like, go and look for this person's trouble. But you, as a man of God, you have to check yourself. Has this thing ever occurred to me in my life? If it has not, then you have to ask Holy Spirit, why is this thing happening to me? Because it's a public figure.
Thank you very much, Matilda, for your views.
Yes. Ooh, okay. So, for me, it's tied to the first story where if you don't resolve issues, bitterness will grow over time. We all have different ways we resolve issues, but I know many people watching right now have their spouses might have done something to them and they are holding it for the past 2-3 years, waiting that, how long will I continue to suffer this thing? Don't suffer. Simply discuss. Because the more you hold it in, it's brewing.
The issue are not easy to discuss.
Because at the end of the day, if we're unable to discuss and release that tension, your reaction will be there. This woman's reaction is not irrational. That's what will happen. You just realize that the woman can now check out or do whatever she can to just
so she was angry with the family.
She was angry, and we all have different ways of dealing with issues. Some women, I know a woman. I know this woman very well. The woman has broken windscreen of a car before. She has packed her husband's, she has packed her husband's clothes outside, put petrol, put it on fire. That's how she resolves her own anger. That's her own system. Another person will sit down and won't say a word. But if you open that woman's heart, she has killed you, she has buried you, you are not 6 feet below, you are 12 feet below the ground. So we have different ways of dealing, and this is, a lot of people keep soaking it in, and it goes both ways. Some women lash out and the men just keep taking it in, and one day they'll just overreact. So I feel that at the base of every marriage, there must be what Priscilla calls conflict resolution system, that how do we resolve conflicts? And sometimes it is tough. The conflict resolution is that we will fight each other, then we'll not kiss after or something, but we must resolve issues immediately. When you don't, it stays.
Okay, talking about resolving issues, because I'd like to go back to what YK said, which is very, very profound. Okay, the man goofed, took your savings to do a farm. That as a woman, as a partner,
deal with that issue.
Farming. Okay, how is it going to benefit all of us? Yeah. Can you now put together and tabulate when do we expect to build this house? When will this farming yield its results? Yeah. So that we can now, must you now go and save and start building?
The reaction.
Let Mariam respond to that.
Good. See, what if she figured out that, okay, my husband, it seems that this farming is where most of our resources will be going for now, because this is a long-term thing and it's an investment. While I can save some money, let me start building this. house. This man is
Why
likely
didn't
to
she tell
say,
him?
yes, this man is like, because she knows that whatever resources they have, he started something, which is we can go behind each other's backs and use monies to do things. That's what he laid the foundation for. Remember, that was not their initial foundation. The initial foundation was together. They decided to save. But you now broke that covenant. You have now laid a new rule. And she's now following that same rule to go and start another thing. But it was all for the good of the family, just different ways of doing it.
Let me go on a quick break on that. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
She's been holding for a while. Are you still there, Chanel? I think we lost. Hello? Okay, I think we lost her.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes. All right. My name is Chanel from Larry.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so I would just like to say, in respect to the initial discussion around the daddy priest and the pastor.
Yes.
I understand the fact that there was someone that mentioned that he needs to apologize and also apologize to the parent. That is also valid, but there's also a saying that says almost soni ko pondo baye. I don't know how to interpret that, but the honest truth is his parents needs to sit him down and correct him, because he's stepping on so many toes, and that's why he had that backlash.
Right,
unfortunately, the man of God shouldn't have stooped low to that extent as well.
Thank you very much, Chanel, for your thoughts on this.
So people say two wrongs don't make a right. Unfortunately, a lot of people also say it in the sense that it depends on the person's point of view.
Right.
And also for the lady or the woman that deported her.
Okay. Okay, Chanel. Okay, so thank you very much.
We're going to
Chanel.
talk about our
the other topic. Now, so the message we got is that the man is asking for the whereabouts of his wife. Okay. She has disappeared somewhere in the 50 states of America looking for. Now he wants his children.
Please, madam.
This is a home. See, this is my problem. This is a family. You broke off marriage because of for me, an issue that could have been easily resolved. Was that enough reason to break a home where children were being raised? That's where I fear.
What kind of children will be raised in
Because
a home where they have
these are
such level
issues
of,
that we should be able to put together. Why would you carry your children and leave?
Maybe she didn't feel she loved him anymore. There is that.
Material things, YK.
Listen, maybe the distrust in her had killed whatever she felt for the guy. That's possible, but it does not give her the right to take the children away. My own point, because if two of us cannot resolve issues as husband and wife, the children must still have access to both parents.
Right.
So
I was divorced. I never for one day stopped my daughter from seeing her father.
Yeah, wonderful.
I know some things that my ex-husband said to her, but I would never say anything. Yeah. So she grew up not knowing anything that happened between us, but he was all counting.
But you see, YK, I think that what you did was fantastic, and it's very important we preach it more. That when we are embittered or we have issues with our spouses, we should ensure the children, we shouldn't punish the children for what the man did. You don't use them as the reason to punish. You're not going to see your children. You're dealing with him. You're dealing with your children. So there's a book I read about how to deal with being co-parenting a child. How two parents can effectively say we're no longer married, but we have a family together. How can we effectively still ensure that this child or these children do well? I think many people need to study and understand it and agree that I might not like you, but my child will know me.
See, guys,
and it's one-sided because this woman has made her own decision selfishly.
Let me be sure that I'm communicating. You are. There are issues of distrust. If you cheat on me, for example, you've broken the trust. But there are also levels. So there are issues of infidelity we get. But this is issue of land. Money. I want to build a house. I want to have family. Is it enough?
Yes.
Is it enough to break a home because of that? There are people that don't even have land. They don't have money. And they're managing themselves.
You know, Mariah, the issue is not about land and money. It's the fact that there's no trust in that home anymore. She does not trust her husband. The husband obviously didn't trust her. The husband obviously too didn't trust her from the beginning. So there's now mistrust among them.
Can I address the trust issue very quickly?
You know, I have a friend who's divorced, and she used to say to me that when I hear women complain about infidelity in their home, and that's the cause of the problems they have, I wish that was my problem. So for some people, that infidelity that will break a home is not enough. Is not enough for them to break their own home, because there are issues like distrust. And we forget that these things spiral. You now mistrust each other. She's now reeling from anger from the meeting that you have called. Do you know what sort of words that they say to each other every day? Are they constantly abusing each other verbally and emotionally, or maybe physically? So if I do not agree, also me too, I feel it's important that for children to have both parents, but also know that it's important for children to be in a healthy environment.
Do you think we're being too foreign, Mariam?
No.
Let me tell you why I think that.
Okay.
Because somebody, a man who you trust, betrayed you by taking our money to go and start farming, just like Waike said.
Yes.
That farming is an investment for the family.
I got that.
That for me is enough to say, okay, this man actually cares for us. Maybe he doesn't agree with me. Maybe there's a way there's a possibility that even she was not approachable. He tried to convince her that this is our money, let us use it for family. She said, no, it's housing. Okay. He as a man, now, that's okay, because I am the head of this family. I'm taking that decision. You as a wife, who is also a co-participator in this marriage, can't you submit to his decision that, okay, his family, no, we are all aligned to family.
Submitted.
But she did not submit.
Why?
She wants to go and use her own private money to go and build a house.
Why is it hard for him to see it as her doing something too? The way he took his
initiative. That money she wants to use the house could have actually invested in the family for the bigger picture.
If you know the man, tell the man that he has serious BC, because if it's known that she took to build that house and she has gone, he's the one that will pay the money for the house.
But in resolving the issue, the truth is, the challenge is that when we call families to discuss, the issues get blown up. Yes, because usually, and the way Yoruba system works, the woman will not kneel down.
Is she Yoruba?
If it's like in Yoruba family, I know I'm a Yoruba person, so I know the way Yoruba family would expect. If there's a family issue, you kneel down, then father of husband will talk. Mother of no, they won't even, before begging. The man will say his own story. Everybody will say their own perspective. It's humiliating. And many times, yes, I agree with you, is modernization and financial empowerment of women. But many women coped with all those things for years, embittered and sad, and they died. They were dying daily. But they took it because they didn't have the financial wherewithal to move out. So they will sit down there. The man would do something. The man would do everything. But now, good or bad, the women have ability to just speak.
Yes, she has American passport.
Yes, so the women have the ability to just pack up and go. They have the finances to do it. So men are not so happy to hear that all this feminism move. All of you, because you now have money, you can do what you want to do. Then some men are oppressed women and say you cannot work because if you are earning money, you're able to talk. Let's see it as a strength for both parties to be financially strong. And let's see it as a strength for both parties. Whatever we're doing, we resolve. But as long as we're seen as an attack, I'll do you one, you do me back. Then we don't have a marriage.
That's where I think she went wrong.
Yeah, she was
wrong.
Because
he did the wrong thing by, everybody has agreed that he did the wrong thing by not telling her. She now took the decision to do another wrong thing. Two wrongs, it's just like the two pastors. Two wrongs do not make it right.
Right.
You know, someone has to have the sense.
Right.
To resolve the issue.
She now did that one, then you see they compounded it by calling family again. Which one is family inside this matter? When you want to have children inside that action, inside the other room, do you call family to come and watch you?
Anyway, we have to wrap up. But your final word, because this man is asking for his me, I will say if the woman is watching right now, wherever you are in the world, please contact your husband.
Yes.
He deserves to see his children. You're angry, understandably so, but at the same time, don't use this as a pawn, as you said.
Yes, if you were trying to make a point, I think you have made your point, but the children need both parents, and then you can sit down and resolve it amicably. Both of you don't need to have too many family members involved in your
life. Children need both parents. Very important. Very, very important.
On that note, we end the show today. Thank you very much, ladies.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow. Have a fabulous day. Bye for now.